Top best ecchi anime that's definitely you should watch. Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. I mean, I know this is supposed to be borderline hentai ecchi anime, but Harem in the Labyrinth in Another World is essentially hentai where they didn't want to put as much effort into the sex scenes. It's an isekai anime. He goes on adventures in order to buy a slave girl to help him. Yes, she fights in dungeons, but his primary motivation to buy her is to bone her. As such, every episode after he purchases her ends with sex. The Quasar of Stigmata. Consider, if you will, Quasar of Stigmata to be an ode to boobies and an ode to allowing anime to have their way with human anatomy. The power of the series relies on breast milk, in which every girl is magically able to just conjure without having an actively suckling baby. So you don't get those less sexy new mothers, and instead you get a main character that can and will suckle from any number of girls introduced in the show. Interspecies reviewers. This series is part of the next generation of ecchi where pretense is thrown right out the window. The plot of the entire series is two guys visiting different brothels and experiencing the talent there. If you have a casual interest in cute monster girls of any shape and cup size, this one has you covered all over in its gooey tendrils. This is one of those ecchi anime series where clothes are off more than they are on. Yasuga no Sora. There are ecchi anime on here that show way more skin than Yasuga no Sora, but this series has something that the other ecchi anime series often lack: sex scenes. That's what really earns this series its place on this list. Yasuga no Sora is based off a visual novel, and the series often explores the various routes in that story. Unlike other visual novel series, this story often punctuates the end of a relationship with a little skin-on-skin action. What tends to put a few people off this series is the fact that one of those relationships is with his sister. High School DxD. As an ecchi series, you expect shiny skin and bouncing boobs when going into High School DxD. It takes that a step beyond by giving you good and frequent nip shots, as well as featuring situations that would be perfectly at home in a hentai series. What you don't expect from High School DxD. You don't expect it to have an actual interesting plot, but it does. That's right. Alongside also having very graphic shots of its ladies, High School DxD actually has a pretty interesting and detailed plot. You do have to sit through the main character being pretty weak when compared to his supernatural ladies for a bit though. Redo of Healer. While Redo of Healer is well known as revenge porn, it has a particular emphasis on that porn part there. While it features a healer getting revenge on all the people that wronged them, if that person is a woman, she will be raped into submission and then brainwashed after to be what incels think the perfect trad wife is, I guess. Redo of Healer is both a lot of sex and also a ton of graphic torture, which may not be something the fine ecchi connoisseur may be looking for in their horny anime. Kiss X Sis. The proper anime series of Kiss X Sis is plenty perverted and plenty sexual. However, if you want an even more graphic experience between this horned-up tricycle of step-siblings, you will want to also check out the OVAs that were made prior to the anime. They might as well be hentai. Testament of New Devil's Sister. Much like High School DxD, Testament of New Devil's Sister combines all the fun of an action anime with a fat amount of cleavage. However, it is an anime unsure of what it wants to be, action anime or full-on lewd harem. You know what they say, dabble in both and master none. It is pretty mediocre as a harem, but it crams in lots of bare shiny flesh, which also unfortunately ruins the pacing of the plot and action. Still, if you aren't into ecchi anime for its strong plot, this has what you crave in abundance. To Love Ru. To Love Ru is a surprisingly complicated series to get into. You need to watch the original To Love Ru, then the OVA, then Motto To Love Ru. All of that is a fine harem rom-com anime series with the standard amount of Ecchi fan service. However, consider all that's set up for the real Ecchi treat that is To Love Ru Darkness. You stuck with the series long enough, now you get the reward. Darkness turns up the Ecchi dial to 11 and breaks the knob off with hope that the previous To Love Ru series scared off all the people that just don't like Ecchi harems, so now they can do what they really wanted to do: lewd the ladies. Queen's Blade. Queen's Blade is pretty suggestive with its woman-on-woman fighting tournament to be ruler. However, women in actual armor are a bit hard to lewd up. This series used the power of anime to solve this problem by making their armor as skimpy and sexy as possible. This means plenty of opportunity for flesh to be pressed up on flesh, as well as glisten, jiggle, and bounce. While suggestive, there isn't any sex in this series. It just shows enough skin overall to earn its place anyway. Maso Gakuen Hybrid X Heart. Maso Gakuen Hybrid X Heart. Maso Gakuen HXH has the most creative excuse for having a bunch of busty girls be all horned up. It is kind of like Symphogears, in a way, with its transformations and battles, but instead it doesn't play coy with its angles and jiggles. No. Instead it dives headfirst into the sexiness of it all, where the battles are present, but ultimately an afterthought. They know you came to see scantily dressed girls moan, grope, and blush. There is plenty of Ecchi out there. If you know one that is particularly graphic, leave it for fans in the comments section below.